I really can't believe it, but today we are actually celebrating our 200th episode, which is so crazy. That means we've been doing this for 2 years. We are coming up on our second anniversary of the podcast in about a week. So we've been doing this for quite some time. So before we get into today's episode, I just want to take a moment to thank you for being here. Whether you have been here from the very beginning when we started this podcast 2 years ago, or you just recently found this podcast, I so appreciate you listening. So, thank you for your support. Thank you for sharing your favorite episodes over these last 2 years. Thank you for leaving a rating or review if you have done so. And thank you for just being you. And I am so glad that we are doing this together and that we are making our lives better and more organized and just reducing the stress for so many women out there. And I just am so happy about it. So thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. So today I thought it would be fun to bring back another Q&A episode. Those seem to be fun and I thought that would be a good way to celebrate. So we have been gathering up questions that have been submitted and we are going to tackle a few of those today. So let's get to it. Are you ready to stop the chaos, the stress, the overwhelm that's filling your life? I'm Renae Matt, and together you and I are going to build simple routines that are going to change your life. When you put these habits into practice, you're going to be able to organize your life in a way where you can be there for your family, pay off your debt, save money, your house can stay organized, you don't have to stress about what's for dinner, and you still get time for yourself. So without further ado, let's get started. Welcome to the Routine Advantage Podcast. I hope you forgive my voice, first of all. We went camping with my family, and it was a really long weekend that was a ton of fun. But over the course of the weekend, by the time we returned home, I pretty much lost my voice, and it's been several days and it's not fully back yet. So I sound a little raspy, I sound a little tired. So I apologize if that's irritating. I will do my best to not crack my voice. So, we're going to go right into the questions and try and get through these. And I hope that they are very helpful for you. And just right off the bat, if these don't cover any questions that you have, please always feel free to submit your questions. You can always go to reneematt.com and contact us in any of the ways that we have there. You can go through email, you can go through our free Facebook community, which you can access there as well. Any way that you can contact us, please feel free to submit your questions if they are not covered in this episode and you have something to ask us. So, question number one was submitted by Susan J. And she said, "Where do I start when it seems too overwhelming to make any changes?" And this is a great one because a lot of us, especially if you are coming to this podcast, you're probably searching for a way to get out of the overwhelm. But I fully understand that when we're overwhelmed, it's overwhelming to think of changes because sometimes you don't even feel like you have a few minutes to spare to organize your thoughts to get out of the mess that we are in. So, this is a really great place to look at is like, where do I start? Where do I even begin? And my personal preference and my personal recommendation would be to start with your morning routine. And the reason I say your morning routine is because when we are so overwhelmed with everything and we are just trying to keep the balls in the air and we're trying to juggle everything all at once, more than likely you are taking care of others before yourself, which is not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing that you are trying to take care of others, but when you are neglected yourself, it's really hard to show up as your best for other people. So, when you are able to just kind of pause and carve out time for yourself in the morning, and even if it starts with just 10 minutes for yourself, like guard that time. If you have to get up a little bit earlier, then you can do that and just start small so that you don't get totally burned out. But this is a time for you to dedicate for what you feel like you need in that moment. So if you have 10 minutes, do 10 minutes. If you have 30 minutes, do 30 minutes. If you can do a full hour in the morning for yourself, you're going to feel amazing. But what you're doing with that morning routine is you're doing what you need first. And when you can do that, you can look at your schedule for the day so that you feel really prepared. You can go for a walk or get some movement in so that you feel really rejuvenated and you feel like good. You can make yourself a nice breakfast. You can sit down and read. You can journal. You can sit down with your Bible. You can do whatever feels good to you that you need in that moment. And when you can do that, you are going to show up the rest of the day with a different sense of peace and confidence and be able to tackle the things that are coming at you rather than getting up and just going straight into your day exhausted and feeling burned out before you even step out of bed. So that is the big difference of what you're going to start feeling when you take time to give yourself a good morning routine so that you feel good showing up. You've heard the saying that you can't pour from an empty cup, and that's what this is doing. It is filling your cup right away in the morning so that you feel fulfilled. And then in turn, you're going to be able to show up throughout the day for others and you're not going to have an empty cup. You're going to be able to pour out into others. So you're going to feel better and showing up for others is going to feel better. They're going to see it on your face. They're going to feel like you feel more rested and prepared and just it gives you a better mood. So that is my number one thing. If you do not have time to spare and you are feeling overwhelmed with everything, start with your morning routine. That is my number one recommendation. Question number 2 comes from Rhonda V. And she said, do you have any tips for shifting your mindset in order to stay on track with routines? I'm really good at planning them out and scheduling everything, but when it comes time to take action, I talk myself out of doing it and just plug along the same as always. And this one can be really, really, really hard because shifting your mindset and changing what you're doing to try and bring routines into your life, you end up going back to habit. We go with what is comfortable and what's familiar, and it's really hard to shift out of that. But routines are a really great place to do it. We just have to do it slowly. But when we are thinking about this, you've heard the saying of nothing changes if nothing changes. And that's exactly what we're focusing on. But we have to actually give ourselves the steps to make those changes without it being overwhelming. So there is a fine balance there to help us start making those changes without shutting down or going back to what we always do because that's what we've always done. So, my recommendation here would be to number one, make sure your plan is incredibly simple. You need to know the steps of the routine that you're trying to put in place, but you need to keep it really simple. If you have a routine that has 20 steps and is going to take you, 45 to 60 minutes, you're more than likely not going to do it just because that feels very overwhelming. A good chunk of time is taken out of your day, and that just feels like too much, and you're going to end up skipping it. You might have the best of intentions, but more than likely, it is not going to get completed if it's too complicated or too long. So, we need to keep our routine that we're building super, super simple with minimal steps, and it should not take you long at all. So, I would say definitely 30 minutes or less, but actually, more, preferable would be something that's like 20 minutes or less, maybe even just 10 minutes. Something that is very quick and has minimal steps in it. It's in my opinion, it's better to have multiple routines that are short and simple than just a couple of big, giant, overwhelming routines, just because you're more likely to complete them if they don't feel as overwhelming. And then the other thing to think about is when you're thinking about trying to shift your mindset is to not focus on the full plan or the full routine, but to focus on the trigger task. And if you've been around here for a while, you know what a trigger task is. But for those of you that are newer here, a trigger task is the first element of your routine. So, say for instance, you're looking at your daily 7 home routine. We talk about a daily 7 home routine. This is taking 7 priority tasks and building them into a simple routine that you can reset your home in under 30 minutes. And when you get this routine down, you're going to practice it a few times. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice again. You're going to practice it a few times and you're going to find that flow that works best, and then you're going to stick to that. That is going to become your daily 7 home routine is these 7 tasks in order, and you focus on them and get them done as quickly as possible. So instead of focusing on that full routine of all 7 tasks when it's time to do your daily 7 home routine, you're not going to focus on all of it. You're going to focus on the very first thing that you need to do. So in this example, I'm going to say that in my daily 7 home routine, my first trigger task or my first task of that routine is to make the bed. And if I know that all I need to do is get myself to the bedroom to make the bed, that is going to be what I focus on. I'm not like, if I get to that point of my day and I'm feeling really tired, I'm feeling really overwhelmed, and I know we need to reset the house, and I know I need to go through my daily 7 home routine. If I'm really tired or exhausted, cleaning the whole house is not going to feel motivating or encouraging. It's going to feel exhausting. So instead, I just focus on making the bed. I'm like, I know that if I get upstairs and I go and I make the bed, it'll feel better. So I focus on that. And when I start to do my first task, it launches me, and it's like that trigger task, like the trigger pull at the beginning of a race. It just gets your feet moving. So I go up and I make the bed, and pretty soon I start the flow of my daily 7. I move from the bedroom and I start gathering up the laundry, and I move in towards the bathroom, and then I start shaking the rugs and wiping down the bathroom because that's next on my list. So I just focus on one step at a time to get through my list as quickly as possible. But when I'm getting ready to do the routine, I'm not focusing on all the steps. I'm focusing on the very first thing that I need to do, that trigger task. And when you do this for all of your routines, if you don't focus on the whole routine, but you focus on the just one thing you need to do first, that is going to help you launch into your routine. Especially if it's short and simple, it makes it easier to just keep going and follow through. And in 10, 15 minutes, you're going to be done and you're going to feel so much better. So that has been a big mindset shift for me to make sure that these routines are getting done. And then the other thing is to know your distractions. So when you are completing a routine, it's not just about doing the routine because that's what needs to be done. It's also about knowing how your brain works and how your habits work. If you know that if you are in the kitchen and you start in the kitchen, you're probably going to kind of get distracted and shift into making a little snack before you finish, cleaning the living room, then that's going to be something you want to change. You're going to want to do all of the other things and maybe end in the kitchen so that you can finish up in there and then move into making the snack because the rest of your routine is all done. So it really just depends on what you have as distractions for yourself. I know when I was building the daily 7 home routine initially, I was getting really distracted by other tasks. So it was really important to make sure that I timed myself. So that's another little tip there for you as well is, do you need a timer to help you stay focused and motivated when it comes time to shifting things up a little bit and making sure you're getting things done in a way that you're not maybe used to quite yet. And so that is something that you can focus on, is saying, okay, I'm just going to set a timer for 20 minutes. And this is the task that I'm focusing on, and I need to try and get it done in 20 minutes. And if I can, great. If I can't, then I can set myself another timer for 20 minutes until I get done. So, those are just some little mindset tweaks that you can do that will help you to stay on track with your routines. But more than anything, if your routine is complicated, it's going to be really hard to stick to. So, more than anything, keep them super simple and short, and then focus on that trigger task and understand what distractions you have so that you can shift those as well. All right, moving into question number 3 is from Julie R. And she said, what is the best way to split tasks between me and my spouse? And this one, okay, I'm not a marriage coach or counselor or anything like that. So this is just personal opinion here of what my husband and I do, but communication is going to be the best thing for you. If you If you talk to your spouse and let them know what you're trying to do and trying to keep it simple and just saying what you need help with or asking what they would like to see, you can communicate what is going to work best for both of you and test things out. Test it. If it doesn't work, tweak it a little bit and keep testing until you find the flow that works well for you. Because every marriage is different, every relationship is different, every family situation is different. So, what works perfectly for my husband and I might not be what works perfectly for you and your spouse. So, communication between your spouse is going to be really critical here, but the big thing is just making sure that you test things and then tweak it to work even better for you. So you can definitely have kind of a starting point, and then as you try things, talk it through and ask each other, like, what is working well here? And what do you think we could improve on? And go from there. I know for my husband and I, we have changed things up a lot, and we've kind of, gone through the course of what works well, and he knows exactly what I should rephrase that. He doesn't know exactly what I do in all of my routines because they aren't necessarily what he needs to do. So, he knows that I have a daily 7 home routine. He doesn't necessarily know what is within my daily 7 home routine. He knows I have a meal planning routine. He doesn't know the steps of my meal planning routine because he's not part of that piece of it. But he knows that I'm trying to do things in certain ways. And I know that he's trying to do some things in certain ways. So there are different areas that work really well. And when we communicate about that, then he knows how he can support me and I know how I can support him. So just to kind of give you some ideas of what works well for us, he knows that I have an essentials list. This is part of our budgeting routine. We budget together. I track everything, but he tells me what he spends so that we're on the same page all the time. And then part of the essentials list that I do have a previous episode about this, but to help us with our budget and to stay on track with never running out of toilet paper, never running out of dish soap, and things like that, we have an essentials list that we kind of review every month. And then I only have to do shopping at like Walmart or Target or Amazon or Thrive Market or something like that. I only have to do it once a month. And then we get all of the supplies we need for the month and we won't run out of anything. So he knows that I do that. So even though he doesn't actually do anything with the list, he knows that when he grabs his last deodorant or if he's getting low on his toothpaste that he uses or his body wash or his shampoo that he uses, things like that, if he knows he just grabbed his last one or he's down to one left in the cupboard, he tells me because he knows I keep a list. So when he does that, then I can update the list and know that we need to grab a new one on the next round of shopping and I can mark it on my list so I don't forget about it. So it's things like that that just work really well for us. Some other examples here is that when we are making dinner, a lot of times we grill through the full year. It doesn't matter if it's winter here in Minnesota or if it's summer. My husband grills all through the year. Now, I don't really do any grilling. Like, I think I've grilled once and I did not go well. I know how to grill, I just don't have a lot of practice in it because he grills pretty much everything that we have. So I do the vegetables and the sides in the house, and he preps the meat and goes and grills it for dinner. So that is just something that we're kind of working as a team together. And then while I'm cooking inside with the vegetables and the sides, I'm also washing dishes as I go, which is going to leave very minimal dishes at the end. So then when we are finishing up, I know that I am unloading the dishwasher in the morning, and I usually wash dishes after lunch in the afternoon because we both work from home. And then after we're done with dishes from dinner, as I've been washing through dinner, we get done with dinner and we get up and we bring it back to the kitchen. And then he usually starts washing dishes while I put all the leftovers away. So it just has become something that we do. It works really well. It's a really good flow for us. And then he leaves the dishwasher loaded, and if we have any snacks or anything like that, we can still put them in there for the night. And then we both always shower at night. That's part of our, like, nightly routine is we both are night showerers. So after we get done showering, so we don't use the hot water, then he goes back downstairs and starts the dishwasher so that it can run overnight. And that just works really well for us. That has just become something that we do. We have communicated that it works well. And so we've stuck to it. And then when I get up in the morning, I unload the dishwasher and then it's set for the day. So it's just things like that that we do that just work well for us, but that might not work really well for you. It's just a matter of communicating and working as a team. So that's the big thing is like if we don't focus on who does more or what I'm doing versus what you're not doing, and it's not a competition. We focus on how we can tackle tasks as a team, and that has worked much better for us. Same with like lawn care. He does all of the lawn care, and I do the cleaning and the laundry. It's just a matter of talking it through and communicating and testing things, tweaking it, and knowing that you can always change it. Just because something works really well for a long time, if it stops working, then talk about it. Tweak some things, or maybe look at what has changed in that season of life. Maybe you're just in a different season and you need to switch things up a little bit, but communicating about it and talking it through is going to help, and just testing things and trying it out because you'll never know what works or what doesn't if you don't try it and if you don't communicate about it. So that would be my opinion and my recommendation, but I think communication is huge there. Okay, question number 4. We've got a couple questions left. I know it's getting kind of long here. I don't know how to keep my answers super short. Okay, question number 4 is from Elizabeth W. And she asked, my question centers around how to eliminate all the excess and figure out how to get down to the basics of what you need to get done. I'm in a spot where I feel like I have so much to do. I struggle to figure out how to sort through all the busyness into those things that I actually must get done. I will do massive brain dumps, and that will help for a while, but then I won't get everything done and I get overwhelmed again. And this one, oh, I feel this one to my core because this used to be me so strongly and it was so overwhelming. So, brain dumps are great. They can be very therapeutic. And I think if you are feeling incredibly overwhelmed, a good brain dump is very helpful. But they're not always going to be helpful if there isn't some sort of structure or plan to go along with that brain dump. Because then we're just ending up with a massive to-do list, and that in itself can be very overwhelming. So, when you're looking at how to focus on what needs to get done and where to even begin here, I would definitely recommend to start with the 5 foundational routines and make sure you have a plan in those 5 areas first. Because when you're feeling overwhelmed, there's a lot going on and we have a lot of responsibilities in life. So you want to make sure that you have a solid, simple go to plan for those 5 foundational areas. And the ones that I teach on are your morning routine is number 1. Then you move into your meal planning routine, then you have a daily 7 home routine. Then you have a daily movement routine. And then you have a budget routine to help you manage finances and reduce the stress and things like that. So if you don't have those set up, those alone are going to help you feel way more organized and on top of things. Now, when you get those 5 areas set up and you've got a simple go-to routine in those 5 areas, and if you need help with that, you can go back into the last 200 episodes. We cover all 5 of these, and you can actually build it from these episodes. It's all within there. Or if you're like, I need more help, I need it to break down, we do have a course coming out. It's been kind of slow going here with the summer and trying to get it out, but it is getting closer. You can go to reneemat.com and sign up for the wait list so then you know about it when it releases. But then we're going to be able to help you walk step by step through this if you need a little more help outside of the episodes in this podcast. But once you have those 5 areas solid, you're still going to have extra things to do. And this is where all of those tasks come in that you probably brain dumped. We need to know what to do with those. And I put those in something that I call an annual task list. Now, your annual task list is separate from your five foundational routines. So, once you have your five foundational routines in place, we're not putting any of those particular tasks on your little, like your big brain dumped list. Those aren't being on there because we have a plan for those. We've already got a routine set. Your annual task list is for all of the other things that need to be done that are not occurring on a daily basis in a normal routine. So, an annual task list might contain things like washing your ceiling fans, washing your windows, shampooing your carpets, washing your bedding, cleaning out your closet, organizing the game cupboard, cleaning your oven, washing your light fixtures, shampooing the kitchen chairs if they're upholstered, cleaning the gutters, cleaning the coffee maker, filing your taxes, getting your rings checked if you've got a warranty on them, touching up paint in the house, cleaning your dehumidifier filter, washing your area rugs, and things like that. It's all those other things that we need to be doing at some point that is just on this to-do list that never seems to be a super high priority, but it also is something that needs to be done at some point so that you don't feel like you're falling behind on everything. So when you can create an annual task list, what it allows you to do is create a plan for those things. So it's not just one big massive brain dumped list. You end up creating this list, but then you create a plan for it. And I do have a previous episode for it. And as I'm talking about this, I don't have the go to episodes for each of these things that I'm talking about. But if you go to our Facebook community, it's a free community, and you can go to theroutineadvantagecommunity.com. And pinned at the top of that Facebook group is an episode library, and you can use these keywords like annual task list to get the episode that I'm talking about this to build your own. Or for any of the things that I'm talking about, you can use the keywords and it's searchable in that list. So it makes it really easy. But when you are building your list, you end up planning out and you do all of the different months going across the year and you highlight the months that you want to complete them, which is your goal, and when it makes it really easy is then you have all of the highlighted items for the month of January that you want to complete in January. And then you have all of the tasks you want to complete in February. So it helps you spread it out through the whole year to make it super easy. Some of them are going to be every month that you want to complete. Some of them you only want to complete, quarterly. Some of them maybe it's just once a year that you want to complete that thing. And you get to go through and decide what works best for you and when it works best for you to complete those things as a goal. That doesn't mean you have to complete it that month, but that's your goal. And then as you are planning out your week, then you've got this whole list to make it super easy, but you're planning out your weekly plan. You sit down and you look at your plan and you say, okay, what are the three most important things from this annual task list that are going to be my priorities this week? So if you're looking at it, we're in August right now. And if I'm looking at August's list, I know I can pick the three most important things I want to get done this month. So I pull those, and that is my plan for the week. I don't have to worry about everything else on that list because it's set. It's fine. I'm just going to focus on three things. Now, if it takes me all week long to get those three things done, it's fine. It's still okay. I'm still on plan and everything is going to be fine. But if I'm having a really good start to my week and I get all three of those things done by like Tuesday or Wednesday, I can look at that and say, "Okay, I'm good with that," and I'll choose another 3 next week. Or I can look at it and say, "I'm having a good week. I've still got some flexibility in the rest of my week. I would like to get ahead of things and get a couple more things done." So I can pick, 2 to 3 more from my list and get ahead of some things and add those, and, now it's my goal to get those additional 2 or 3 things done. So I might actually end the week with 6 priority tasks done, but I'm not starting that way because if I had picked 6 right from the start, I probably would have felt too overwhelmed to complete any of them. And then I would have been even more behind. So it's really important at least I know that that's the way my brain works, and I know a lot of people's brain works that way. So if you have never tried it this way, I encourage you to try it because it is a big mindset shift and you can achieve so much more by breaking it down and having these simplified plans in place. So that is what I would recommend doing is not overbooking yourself that way. Take your brain dumped list and move it into an annual task list. Go back and find that episode, move it into an annual task list, and then you've got a plan so that when you sit down to do your weekly planning and you look at your week, you can choose just 2 to 3 priority tasks from that annual task list, and those have become your priorities for the week, and then it's not so overwhelming. And then you can do your 5 foundational routines throughout the week. You can plug those into your week, and you're gonna feel so much better. It's going to feel like such a relief to be able to get on top of these things and to start making progress without it feeling overwhelming. It's actually going to feel so simple that you are going to question whether or not it's going to work because it doesn't feel like you're doing enough. But I want to tell you right now that it is enough. And over time, you're going to start to see that and it's going to feel so much smoother. So I hope that you go back and look at the annual task list and start building your annual task list so that you don't just toss the brain dumped list away. Just use that as a starting point for your annual task list, and you're going to feel so much better. All right. And then I think the fifth and final question that we have here is from Regina S. And she said, I often find that I'm overbooking myself, so I can't stick to my routines. What should I do if I have a hard time saying no? All right. So this one is going to make a big difference in when you build a day stack. Now, you can do this on paper or you can do this in a Google Calendar. And I highly recommend using a Google Calendar because you can use it on any device. It doesn't matter if it's an Apple device or a Samsung or a laptop or a desktop computer. Like, it does not matter what device you're on. You can log into a Google Calendar and access your account. So, I recommend a Google Calendar. Now, when you are looking at your schedule. If you have a hard time saying no, then you need to have a better understanding of your schedule. Now, if you look at my calendar, it looks incredibly busy, but it's because it has been broken down in my mind of what I need to have time blocks for. So when I am time blocking, my version of time blocking, I call a day stack. And the reason I call it a day stack instead of time blocking is because well, I kind of use them interchangeably, but mine is focused on a day stack. So when you are looking at a time block day, a lot of times people say, okay, you've got your morning block, your afternoon block, and your evening block, and then whatever needs to be done needs to fit into this block. And not every day flows the same. So I struggled doing time blocking like that. I really had a hard time wrapping my head around making sure every block looked the same and flowed the same to make sure that my life flowed smoothly. And it just didn't work for me. So, what I started doing is I started blocking time for specific things or specific routines. So when I go into my Google Calendar, I did color code it, and you can do the same thing. And I do have previous episodes on this too, and the course is going to go through this to help you break it down. But basically, what you're doing is you are setting up your day and you're giving yourself a block of time for the things that are important to you because you need to know what is involved in your life to be able to know if you're going to have time to say yes or no to other things that do come up. You need to know how you want to build your ideal life first. So, when you are opening up a Google Calendar, you can start plugging in blocks of time for things that are important to you. So, maybe start with, your personal priorities. Maybe you've got family time. How much family time do you want? You can plug it in. If you have work hours. What hours are you going to be working? Block that time off and then go through and plug in your 5 foundational routines. Where's your time block for your daily movement? Where's your time block for your morning routine? Where's your time block to make sure that you have time for meal planning, whether it's the planning process and, organizing your meal plan for the week? When are you going to be grocery shopping and when are you going to be prepping your vegetables? So it's just things like that that you want to be plugging in. You want to make sure all 5 of your foundational routines you have time blocked in there for. You also want to make sure that it's any extras of things that need to be done daily, whether it is, maybe packing lunches for your kiddos. Maybe it is time to go to the gym and that's your daily movement. Like, what is it that needs to be plugged into your day? And you are just stacking your day in the order that you would like it to flow. Because once you create a day stack and everything is flowing in a certain way, then when something comes up and you can look at your schedule when somebody says, "Hey, can you get together on Thursday night?" and you don't necessarily want to go, but you feel really bad saying no, you can look at your schedule and see that you've got all of these things blocked in there and you've got, family time blocked in on Thursday night. Then you can say, "I can't, I'm busy, I already have plans." That is your excuse. It gives you more confidence to say no. Now, if it's something that comes up where you do want to say yes, and it's something that you don't want to say no to, you want to make it work, then you also have the ability to look at your schedule and say, okay, if this is now a priority, then what needs to shift and where can I maneuver things to make it work for what I want to happen? And you can just rearrange as things come up. If you have it plugged in to do a routine or to do something else when your friend invites you over for coffee, then you need to look at your schedule and say, can I restack my day and make some shifts and move things around to still make it flow so that all of my personal priorities are being met and I can make this work so I can go have coffee? Or do I want to say no because I have previous plans and this just gives me more confidence to say no to something? And especially if you don't want to do it, this definitely gives you more confidence to say no when you don't want to do things. But it allows you to really look at your week in a digital format, and having it in a Google Calendar makes it so that you can color coordinate things. Like, all of my meetings and time sensitive things are green, all of my meal planning related things are blue. My movement is orange. If I'm working out or I am plugging in time to take my dog for a walk, it's all orange because that's my movement color. You can do that so you can have a really good glance, for your week, and it's all color coded, and you can see where you're spending your time. And then because it is digital, it makes it really easy to just make changes as you go to make sure things fit, and then you've got a solid plan. So it allows you to restack your day if you need to. If something comes up or if plans change, you can just drag and drop where you're going to be doing things to allow for the best layout for that week. And when you get used to doing this, it does sound like a lot, but when you get used to doing it, it's so quick and easy. It just takes the intentionality of sitting down and planning out your week first. And then from there, you don't have to start from scratch every time. It allows you to build your ideal week and then just make some adjustments as you go. And that's going to help you to make sure that you are getting in what you want to get in. So you don't have to skip those routines if you don't want to. And it allows you to build the consistency and give you the permission to say no to things that you don't want to be doing because you have made previous commitments. And it just gives you that flexibility to build your life the way that you want to be building it, not just how you feel like you're expected to be living it. And that gives you so much freedom. So that is all the questions we had this time around. I hope that that was helpful for you. Like I said earlier, if you have a question that you want to submit, you can certainly do so. You can send it to us through email. You can do it through the Facebook community. You can find the links to all of that at reneemat.com. And thank you again for being here. And congrats if you have listened to all 200 episodes. That's absolutely amazing. I know there are definitely a handful of you that I know for sure have have listened to all of them, and you are the absolute best. And I am just so appreciative of you being here. And I will catch you on the next episode, episode 201. Did you love that episode or learn something useful? If so, would you do me a huge favor? My goal is to grow this podcast and help as many women as I can break free from the overwhelm so they can truly enjoy their life. The best way for me to do this is for you to leave a 5-star written review on your podcast app and to share this episode with a friend or in your Instagram stories. I appreciate you being here. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you on the next episode. Take care.